2 black gloves, a white belt, iron covers, and the first Englishman in the 107-year history to win the PGA Championship, Aaron Rai, with an unbelievable performance. We're going to recap the whole PGA Championship for you here. Mitch was out there at Aronimink today, is struggling through this. He's gonna hammer it out. We're going to talk about all the storylines from the PGA Championship and Aaron Rai taking home the Wanamaker Trophy. All right, let's tee it up. Big drive energy, Sunday night, late night. Mitch in a hotel in Atlantic City, New Jersey, New York?
New Jersey. You don't know where Atlantic City is?
No, Atlantic City feels like, isn't it in a video game or some sort of, I feel like it's in some sort of video game we played as kids, and it feels like a make-believe land to me. It doesn't feel like a real place to me.
Are you thinking of when we played like that car racing game and there was an underwater city and it was called Atlantic City,
yes,
I think?
I think that's it. Yeah, I didn't think Atlantic City was actually a real place.
Yeah, well, it shouldn't be. It's a fucking shithole. We were at the nicest hotel in Atlantic City, luckily. Nicest casino, which I plan on losing money at the next couple of evenings. But long day. We're podding at 10 p.m. I just had 2 martinis. So
nice. Espresso or just regular?
No, just regular. I don't need to be wired. I got to be up at like 6 a.m. tomorrow. Early morning, tea time, wake up call. I think I'm playing. I don't know if I'm playing or not. It's kind of a weird scenario. But yeah, Aronimink was sick, dude.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, so let's get into, obviously, so for those of you listening, you only got us for about half an hour tonight. It's going to be a nice shortened pod.
It'll go 45 minutes for sure.
We're going to get Migsy to bed, but talk to me about the golf course. Was the what's the word I'm looking for here? The logistics, were the logistics of it as bad as you had anticipated? For the bus ride and the parking far away and all that shit?
No, it was actually very well run. I was very impressed. I would say car door to gate to entrance was like 30 minutes.
That's not bad at all.
No, it was really good. I mean, we got a good parking spot in the parking garage and like green lot or whatever. Hopped on a bus, 10-minute bus ride, 10-minute walk in. And it was weird because there was a lot of people there, but it didn't feel like when you walked in, it didn't feel like it. So
I guess that's every time we've been to the waste management where it feels like there is a lot of people and it also feels like there's a lot of people because everywhere you go, it's fucking
it's a goddamn nightmare. Yes. The piece of property, it felt massive. Like it felt like an old school, like major championship venue. There was a lot of room in between fairways. It wasn't one of those places that felt super jammed in there. The layout was like big, old school. In tee to green, it was shockingly undulating. Like I think that a lot of people mentioned that during this week, that you would just expect a golf course in Philadelphia to be relatively flat. When I moved to New Jersey, I was like, this whole state's just flat. All the East Coast, coming from the Rocky Mountains from Colorado, you just think that everywhere else is pretty flat. And there was a lot of elevation change. I posted a picture from the green on 8, and I think that was probably playing like 60 to 70 feet downhill. It was a massive elevation change, coming down like 7, 8 into 9. And then you go up the hill on 9 and then back down on 10. And it was the layout was a little odd because there was some holes where, so when you walked from 8T to 9 green, you had to walk around the around the 10th green and then like take a left and walk all the way back up to the tee on 9. So it was very like crisscross, a little jumbled. But the layout overall I thought was super cool. It was the middle of both 9s were basically the furthest points from the clubhouse, but then you had 9 and 18 running basically parallel to each other, going straight back up to the clubhouse. Both really good holes. 9 was a good par 5. And this is just a random thought, but how often do you see a 9th hole be a par 5? Like we've
Not
seen
very
18.
often.
Yeah,
But
it feels like it's always
it's
in the
funny.
middle of 9s.
It's funny because the course we grew up on and we played for our entire lives finished par 5 on 9 and 18.
That's so
And
weird. I forgot that our old home course was a par 5 to end the front 9. Like it.
yeah, and the back 9 finished 5-3-5. So I don't know if it's my warped reality from growing up there and playing golf there. The first, 100 of 110 rounds I ever played in my life were at that golf course. But that's how golf should be, dude. Like then the last two holes of each 9 should be a par 5.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. And so I will say that the finishing stretch here was awesome. Because 15 was like the hardest par 4 on the course. So basically 15 and 16 were running parallel to each other, one in one direction. 15 was running to the south, and then 16 looped back to the north, but they were basically the same distance. And the wind obviously had a large effect on how scoreable they each were. But 15 was the hardest par 4 on the course. And then you turn around, and 16, I think, was the easiest hole on the whole course, the most scoreable par 5 for sure. So it was very much like if you make 4 on both of those holes, you're doing very well. But you could easily make 5 on 15 and then 4 on 16 when it just feels like it should flip flop. But then 17, phenomenal golf hole. I mean, we saw what Aaron Rai did, made that bomb that really kind of, I wouldn't say ruined the golf tournament, but it like kind of put a fork in it where everyone else is like, okay, well, if you end birdie, Alex Smalley, if he could have gone birdie, but then Aaron Rai makes a 60-footer, puts himself 3 shots out, and then, everyone's kind of shot in the foot. So, but then 18 was also a great hole. The 17, the back of 17 green runs straight into like the blue tee box on 18. So it's very cool. Like you could easily end up having a pitch shot from the 18 tee box back to 17 green. And it was like, I was just envisioning myself hitting this pitch shot and thinking about how well executed it would be. When in all reality, I would probably hit it right into the fucking face of that thing and it would run all the way back and I'd end up making 5. But
Well, yeah, there was that one hole where today, which you didn't see because you weren't watching the broadcast, but there was 2 greens that were really close to each other and they had that mown area between each other. And
no, that was
Cam
8
Young,
and 10.
8 and 10, yeah. Cam Young's approach shot on 8 was closer to 10 green than it was to 8 green, or vice versa. His approach shot on 10 was closer to 8 green. Like it went down in that little swell. And then the other thing I noticed, which was it felt like every single tee shot, and I might be fucking up the hole here because I thought it was a par 5, but I thought it was like hole number 6, which is not a par 5. But there was a hole where the fairway sloped severely right to left, and nobody hit that fairway. Everybody, even if you cut it, it kicked left into the rough. If you drew it kicked left into the rough. Like every golf shot I watched all week from Thursday on, same hole, and every shot was kicking into the rough. So that just kind of speaks to the undulation of the golf course. And like you mentioned as well, after 13, which was the drivable par 4, there was 16 was basically, if you needed to make up any ground, it was your only real shot, and that's what truly set this golf course apart. And not to, hate on your golf picks here. Your under 267 got kind of blown out of the water. I mean, Rai made it a little closer than it felt all week, but what a tough golf course, man. And it went into, we'll go into some stats here a little bit and talk about Alex Smalley, who is the leader going into today, who is basically just, I guess I'll go into it. He was first in strokes gained putting the first 3 rounds, and he was not top 25 in a single other category, but he was first in strokes gained putting. and ended up being leading the tournament going into Sunday by 2 shots. And so it kind of felt like a bit of a putting competition. And then there was the Rory quote of when he played like shit on Thursday, it was a shit setup. And then he played good Friday, Saturday. He's like, oh, I think it's a good setup. And there was multiple different tweets and viral moments of the pin positions coming out for the next day of people like, oh my God, look at 6. I think 6 today was 8 paces on and 6 paces from the right. And that was generous.
I think
felt
4
generous.
paces from the right. Yeah. I think the general theme this week was, from what all I heard from the players, was a lot of guys, when they play practice rounds, they just bring dots out, shape, circle, shape, whatever. And they'll throw them down and putt to them. And it sounded like every single dude went out on Wednesday and Tuesday and if they put a pin here, it would be impossible. And it sounds like they put it almost every single place that these guys thought they wouldn't be able to put them at. And I honestly, I have a couple different takes. I sound wishy-washy, but I don't completely disagree with what Rory said, because I listened to a Max Homa interview, and he said that all the pins were so hard that everyone was just aiming away from them and making a bunch of pars. Because he said it wasn't hard to hit it 30 feet from the hole. It was hard to hit it 5 to 10 feet from the hole. And nobody wanted to take that risk on of hitting it, inside of 10 feet or possibly missing the green, because it was so penal when you miss the green, that they would just play to the safe side every single time. But then, you see Aaron Rai ends up shooting 4 under on the back 9 today, has the round of the day basically after his first 8 holes. And that's the thing, is like, somebody did end up setting themselves apart, and that was Rory's whole gripe, because nobody has set themselves apart. And I will say that the weekend was a little bit softer layout wise, setup wise, than Thursday, Friday. Like, it felt like, I think that somebody caught wind at the PGA of America that the golfers were saying 20 under was the target, and it was kind of the perfect storm, because they put the pins in some wild spots, and then the wind was blowing like 30. And the first 2 days, I think in the morning, it was in the 50s. So it was basically like a British Open with greens rolling at a 12 and a bunch of fucking pins on top of knobs. Like, and these guys are still shooting under par. So it really wasn't that hard. But for that course, it was like the perfect PGA Championship setup. It wasn't a total walkover. It wasn't a total fucking birdie fest. But at the same time, like, there were still gettable holes out there. But when people are bitching about the setup and saying it's like a US Open, whatever, I think the PGA was very satisfied to hear that.
Yeah, well, and speaking to your point about they really couldn't go at flags, it was, you never know with PGA Tour players, because they are the elite of the elite, and especially a group like this where it's coming down the stretch in a major, all these guys are playing the best golf. But it was like hole 11 today, Xander Schauffele hit his drive into the right bunker, and his second shot, which he basically cold topped. You'll have to, if you see it again on TV, he was hitting a wedge out, but I don't think he was trying either. He was trying to get to the green and just topped it. But they went back and showed the slow-mo replay of him hitting his bunker shot from probably 140, 150. And they were like, oh, it hit in the lip and then rolled into the fairway. It actually skipped off the bunker first, hit like 4 feet in front of him, hit the lip and rolled into the fairway. But the point of that was he had like 80 yards in the fairway, 80 yards in for his third shot. And he hit it to 30 feet, and they were like, that's the best he could do. Like, they legitimately said that. They were like, 80-yard shot, and you can't even take dead aim at the flag.
Yeah, that is, I will say, was probably the best part of it. But the word, I don't really know. I feel like I need a little more time to reflect, because the US Open, when you think US Open, it's so penal off the tee. If you miss the fairway, it's like auto bogey, or, you're hitting it 40, 50 yards out. You're trying to get up and down for par. You're probably making bogey. But this golf course was like, yeah, hit it in the middle, hit it 330, give yourself 90 yards. We watched Rory and Xander on 7. I think Xander had 90 yards in, and he was kind of on a downhill slope. 7 was like and sidebar, a lot of these holes out there felt like so 7 was like a dogleg right, but the entire fairway kicked left.
I
So
think
everything is like,
7's the hole that I'm thinking of. 7 is the hole that I'm thinking of for sure, where I was saying earlier, I had it fucked up. It kicked left instead of right. So you could not hit a draw there. And even the guys that were cutting it to the center of the fairway, it was kicking left into the rough.
yes. So every single tee shot I watched there, I watched maybe like 6 or 7 of them. I watched Cantlay 6-7, 6-7. Or no, I'm sorry. I watched Mav McNeely and Patrick Reed both blow into the fescue right. And then I saw Rory. I think Rory hit it like 60, 70 yards off the green. But there was literally no hitting it close. When Xander hit that shot, I thought he laid the sod over it. I thought he fucking like drop kicked it. Because I was like, that is 25, 30 yards short of the hole from 80 yards. It felt like he flew it halfway there. And then this thing releases all the way up, catches a ridge, and ends up moving probably 20, 25 feet left on the ground. And he's got like 20 feet left, 25 feet. And I'm like, oh my God, that was way better than I thought. It just looked like shit. And then same with Rory's. Rory had like 60 yards in. He pitched it probably 20 yards short of the hole. It kicked left on the way down and then rode the bank up to the right and then went up to the left. It ended up, him and Xander kind of ended up near each other. But those greens are just absurd, dude. Like, and that is what those greens defended the golf course. Like, tee to green, those guys would have shot 25 under. But the greens were just the absolute teeth of it. And that is so antithetical to what PGA Tour golf is anymore. Where it's like, if you drive at 330, 340, you're going to shoot 15 under, 20 under. It's just, it's an if and then. But this golf tournament was like, drive at 340. You're still going to struggle to make par. You know what I mean? So that was the part of it that I loved. But a few of the pins, I mean, they definitely look questionable. Like,
do you think that this gives the other PGA Tour events a little bit, and maybe the world of golf, professional golf as a whole, in terms of how they look at golf tournaments? Like, everybody's just been so in the, hey, should we roll the ball back? Hey, should we, lengthen every hole 10 to 15 to 20 yards and max it out? And they watch Aronimink this week and they think, obviously, like, TPC Minnesota can't fucking make their greens 15 and below, but do you think this holistically changes some of the PGA Tour tournaments' minds of like, all right, I think if we can get it towards tougher pins, maybe some insane pins. I don't know if that pisses the players off and just turns into a complete mess, but honestly, it was such a fun golf tournament to watch. And I was surprised. Obviously, Rory saying what he said, a lot of people really clapped back at that and were like, no, this is fun. And ironically too, this whole tournament, which is kind of the focal point of this pod, and just one of my biggest takeaways, is that the golf tournament ended up being a blowout when it was one of the most tightly contested and more players closer to the lead than there's ever been this whole season. And it turned out to be one of the most laughers, if you will, or one of the biggest laughers of the year by the end of it, because Aaron Rai did separate himself. But it was just kind of a funny contrast of, oh my God, this is so fun for 3.5 days. There were so many people that you make one eagle like Aaron Rai did on 9, and you're all of a sudden from T24 to T3, and one birdie gets you tied for the lead.
Oh yeah. I mean, it was, and that is the most fun thing about majors in general, in my mind, is you make one birdie and it really means something. You don't need to make 6 birdies for it to mean something. So yeah, these guys are out there making a shitload of pars. You throw in a birdie, you throw in an eagle, God forbid. I think who made eagle earlier today, and they went like from like T34 to T17 or they basically jumped like halfway up the leaderboard at that point. And yeah, dude, I thought it was awesome. Like, one other low key thing about that golf course that I think made it harder as well was just the different elevation change going like on your approach shots. Like that 11th hole was way more uphill than it looked like on TV. And that makes it borderline impossible to stop a 70-yard wedge, to stop a short, like that pin was super far on the right, like insanely far to the right. But then you even on 7, you've got it super downhill to where you're trying to chase something back there, but it's coming in at such a steep downhill approach that you can't throw something too high because it might two hop and then stop right there. Like you really, it was all about trajectory control, and almost it felt like guys were better off in a lot of places hitting more club into greens than hitting less club. Like closer was not always better. And that is, like you said, that is what we want. Like that is the one thing that we could change as opposed to just rolling the ball back and making everyone hit it shorter, make it harder to come into the greens. Hey, it doesn't stray far from my idea of taking away sand wedges and lob wedges. Like if you took away sand wedges and lob wedges and everyone had to hit a gap wedge or more into a green, I don't think anyone would be hitting it 60, 70 yards from the green. So that this week really forced those guys to do that. And that was the ultimate like cinema. It was the par 3s were phenomenal this week. The par 5s, you know, were a little different. And then 13, like I think Michael Kim had a tweet that he hit 5 wood or 7 wood. He hit it to like 5 feet. He was like, Goddard might hit 5 iron. So it was very Jekyll and Hyde, like some really easy, really scoreable holes. But even 16, the par 5, it was the hardest fairway to hit all week because the fairway was like relatively narrow for Aronimink, and it was a huge slope left to right, but they had a bunker left protecting, like if you were trying to fade it. And I think Brian Harmon barely cleared the bunker, so I guess it wasn't in play for a lot of guys. But the rough was just thick enough to where it made guys second guess it. Like it, but that was almost the good part is in the US Open, you have no second thought. Like you're taking a wedge, you're taking a short iron. But I watched Hideki hit 3 wood out of the fucking rough today. And it sounded like I have no idea. I was standing 5 feet from him and I was like, he got like 5 wood out and set it down behind the ball. I was like, you know, you make a little space, a little gamesmanship there, whatever. And I'm like, he's for sure grabbing an iron. And then he goes from 5 wood and grabs 3 wood and then hits 3 wood out of the fucking 4-inch tall rough. And it did not look like a great lie, but I think he got it like 30 yards short of the green. Also very interesting, there was people walking in the middle of the fairway, like 150 yards up, and he's hitting out of the rough with a 3 wood. And he didn't even like acknowledge them and just blew it over there. I was like, dude, you drop kick this. It's fucking taking somebody out in the middle of the fairway. Yeah. It was just an insane scenario all the way around. But we sat right in between 11 and 16 for like 30, 40 minutes. So we got to see tee shots on both and kind of approach shots on both. So that was a fun little spot, just mostly because there was like nobody there. And that just goes back to how huge the property was. Is there had to have been 150,000 people there today, 100,000 people. I don't know. But there were certain spots where it was like dead. And, you know, with leaders on the back 9 and there's still like not a lot of people around. So it was just, I thought it was very well set up overall, logistically, golf course wise. I was very impressed.
I love that. Well, let's get to some storylines from throughout the week. We'll start back on Thursday, the Garrick Higgo situation. If you guys didn't see that, he missed his tee time by what he called 1 second, essentially. Didn't miss his tee time, I should say. He was, if you're not early, you're late, and that's what happened to Garrick Higgo. So he was assessed a 2-stroke penalty before he even teed off, ended up shooting 1 under par the first day, which would have been 3 under par, and I believe in the lead after day 1 if he hadn't been assessed a 2-stroke penalty. And just some great quotes from Garrick on that. So younger dude from South Africa, seems like one of the more chill guys on tour. They said, just to be 100% clear, when you walked to the tee, it was a surprise to you when they said it was a 2-stroke penalty. He goes, no, it wasn't a surprise. I was late. I mean, my caddy was yelling at me to get to the tee. So by the time you got there, you already knew. I knew it was probably going to happen. Yeah. And then he was like, I was just trying to get evidence. I feel like you would have done the same. It's kind of like I was there, but on time. But the rule is if you're 1 second late, you're late. So if you think about it, if I was there on time, I was there on time. You know what I mean? Like, was I there at 7:18 and 30 seconds? You know what I mean? Yeah. Or was it like 7:19, whatever it was? I don't know. And so it ended up being a pretty big storyline on a Thursday. And Garrick Higgo obviously didn't finish all that well in the end of things, but it would have been kind of interesting had he played better and had a 2-stroke penalty assessed. Do you think it's fairway or 4? I know that's an old segment we used to do, but like, what do you think about
I
that?
mean, I love a good fairway or 4. Well, I think he missed. Excuse me. I think he missed the cut by 2, and I think he was 6 over through 2 days. And if he wouldn't have had that 2-stroke penalty, he would have made the cut. And God forbid he goes on a run. I mean, Higgo's had one of the worst runs. If you look at his stats, it is. If you could like short a player or fade a player and bet them to miss the cut, Garrick Higgo feels like he's been a surefire bet. But it seemed like that was some bulletin board material for him because, like you said, he went out that day, fired 1 under, which would have been 3 under. Probably, I think that was 1 back of the lead on Thursday. And then Friday he shoots 75 or whatever, 76. And I think 76. And misses the cut, but that was just a hilarious storyline. They basically met him at the tee and he was like, "You're getting penalized." And so then the next day they had the tracker on him and he was there 7 or 8 minutes early. I will say Garrick Higgo, I saw a tweet that was hilarious. It was like, Garrick Higgo and Dustin Johnson, how long does it take him to like screw in a light bulb or some shit like that? Just you look at Garrick Higgo and he's wearing the Palm Club hat, which is basically a Vegas nightclub because he went to UNLV for like 2 years. So he's got a bunch of connects in Vegas. And he's got the blonde man bun. He just seems like he's completely out to lunch all the time. And then you throw in the South African accent and he's just like, "Yeah, mate, I was 5 seconds late, but really is that late?" And it's like, yeah, I guess 5 seconds late is late. And they had the video of him actually putting on the green at, I think his tee time was say 8:20. And at 8:19, he's just hitting a couple of 20 footers, like just not a care in the world. Like, oh yeah, I'm going to need this today. And just shows up to the tee and gets penalized. That shit was funny. But yeah, the Higgo situation, just a great little early week storyline to add to the mix.
Yeah, one other so we'll run through some notes here quick. The Aronimink greens, I tried to find this stat after round 4, but there were 190 total 3-putts at Augusta this year through all 4 rounds. There were 299 3-putts on Thursday and Friday at Aronimink this year. So it just goes to show you how tough putting was. One other really cool story was Brett Kern. And if you guys didn't see Brett Kern, or Ben Kern, excuse me. I kept thinking Brett Kern, the old punter for the Tennessee Titans. I was like, shit.
I was just looking up Brett Kern's Instagram, and apparently there's an influencer named Brett Kern.
Yeah, he might be the old punter for the Tennessee Titans. But Ben Kern, the only PGA Tour or PGA professional to make the cut at the PGA Championship, plays golf once a week. And the quote tweet 2 days ago on Friday night was he just beat 5 of the world's top 10 players for 36 holes at the PGA Championship, and he has a weekend tee time at Aronimink. He's the general manager at Ohio's Hickory Hills Golf Club and qualified for the PGA Championship as a top 20 finisher at the PGA Professional Championship. He's from Arizona, played golf at Kansas State, did some mini tour stuff, and then set a goal of playing once a week with his members at Hickory Hills. And then, he goes, "It proves to myself that I can hang with these guys when I'm playing solid. It was really nice. I hung my head high yesterday. I had a goal and I surpassed it." So he said, it is funny though. He said he's a +6 handicap back home, and he knows this round might mean he needs to give his members more strokes in the weekly games.
Yeah, dude, I love that. I mean, just the fact that he's got like a full tat sleeve.
Yes.
And it feels like he's lost some weight. Like look at him from This is 5 years ago. I
Oh
don't think.
man. Yeah,
Yeah,
he
so
has. He maybe got on the GLP ones.
maybe he's got an Ozempic. I mean, give me anyone but Michael Block. Like I actually like this dude. Funny enough, I was looking through his Instagram just now. December 1st of 2021, he finished second at the TaylorMade TP Classic at Stream Song. He shot 7 under. Guess who beat him?
Michael Block.
Blocky shot 8 under.
Oh,
I just can't I can't lose this guy. I don't want to watch any of his content, and here we are. But no, dude, the guy was a gamer. It was fun to watch.
And just a true, like when you look at all if you would have just lined up everybody that made the cut and said, hey, pick me the one PGA professional out of this, which is kind of ironic because PGA professionals compared to regular people, if you will, not that we or me used to be or any better or, you know, different looking than most people. But I bet you of all the people that made the cut and you said, which one of these guys is the PGA professional of the group, probably tat sleeve, older guy with a big gut would have been top 3 on my list, maybe just number 1. A couple more putting stats I want to get to from this week. So Scotty Scheffler finishes the week with 125 putts, which is 2 shy of his most ever in a major championship. And Ludwig Aubert, who in the middle of Sunday was leading the field in strokes gained approach, played his 27 holes in a row without making a putt longer than 7 feet.
That's insane. That is unbelievable.
Oh, and all your videos and stuff finally showed up on here. It's pretty cool. We got a shared note. We got a shared note that we were working with, and Mitchell couldn't post because it was a little shoddy in the service aspect. So we tried to circumvent the service system and it didn't work, but now all these videos are showing up and it's pretty dope.
No surprise there. Other thing that they talked about it, but when I was actually able to see it in person, the first cut of rough. Did you see them talk about this?
Yeah, I didn't see him talk about it, but I mean, I saw how penal it was and how like balls would disappear in it.
Well, I'm talking about like the like
the fringe cut.
Yes, the primary or not. The secondary cut. I don't know even what the fuck you call it.
No, I think it maybe be the primary, but the primary seems like the most rough, which would be the
that's what I'm saying. Like the first cut. I'm talking first cut. Second cut is the thicker cut, but first cut was it was like most rough at other golf courses. And Michael Kim actually tweeted about it on Wednesday because it was a full ball height over like the fairway. So if you were up against the collar, you had no chance. Like I saw a few guys on 8 have to belly wedges today. So that's just another shot that you don't see a whole lot of anymore on the PGA Tour. Guys hitting a wedge in the forehead, almost kind of putting it because they can't get a whole putter face on it. So that was an interesting thing that they did. I have no idea why they did that. Maybe because there were so many runoffs that like it felt like every green it was running off in one direction or the other, and that's just your typical old school setup that is so demanding. Like the 8th green, and I stood there for quite a bit, but I'm going to keep talking about it. The whole left side of the 8th green kicked off to the left, and I watched Hideki Matsuyama maybe make the best up and down I've ever seen in my life because he had a 6-foot mound. He was on the downslope in the first cut, the shorter cut, but still in a thick lie, like straight down slope, going into a 6-foot mound. And then right over that mound, everything ran directly away from him. And he legitimately, I wish I got it on video, because he hit it to like 3 feet and he looks at his caddy and just starts cracking up. Because he was like, and you never see really Hideki like show a lot of emotion on the course. He just had grinning from ear to ear because I think he was like that.
I think I remember seeing that shot on TV actually because Hideki made a little bit of a run there.
Yeah, no, Hideki had a run. A couple guys had a run, but yeah, when Hideki
there was a bunch of guys that got to 4, which when Smalley was at 6, you felt like 4 might be the number. And then Justin Thomas got to the clubhouse at 5 pretty early on, so you knew 5 was at least the number. Ended up being 9 with Aaron Rai. But there was a good part of most of today where you felt like 5 and maybe 6 would get in the clubhouse with at least a lead, which would have been electric because we would have got like an aggregate playoff with like a 6-some. That's what we all wanted. But it ended
Of
up
course.
it was always Aaron Rai. It was always Aaron Rai.
We can never have nice things.
I want to talk about a few stats here, just because I've found data golf and the sortable stats, and I love those. So putting, strokes gained putting for the week: Matty Schmid finished first, Xander Schauffele second, Alex Smalley third, Justin Thomas fourth, and the first guy to the most strokes gained putting for the week at plus 1.71 was a guy that got cut. Who was that?
Oh, I don't know.
This player ironically tied with Aaron Rai at both plus 0.171 strokes gained putting for the week. One guy got cut, one guy won the event.
I can't tell you.
Blocky.
No shit.
Blocky, yeah, he was top 5.
Wow. Well, I mean, if you hit it like 260 like I do, or like Blocky does, you got to putt it well. Real quick on Alex Smalley. I think so many people were rooting against him that I was almost rooting for him, because I heard this dude. You hear people have these conversations, and none of these fucking guys know what they're talking about. They have no idea. Not like I'm some genius, but I'm just sitting there, listening. And this fucking guy goes, he's like, I can tell you one thing: Alex Smalley is not winning today. And I think that was like the general consensus amongst everyone.
Yeah.
And everyone was like hating on him so much that I'm like, I want him to go shoot 65 and just because Smalley is like, he's a weirdo. Like, did you see the video of his laugh?
Yes, they were like the Kawhi laugh has gotten overtaken. And then the story about his mom following him, tracking every shot, and also bringing him orange slices to his tournaments cut up already. Like, there was some weird stuff going down, but I do feel you. Like, once everybody starts,
like, he seems homeschooled. Like, he seems like he's a little awkward.
But once everybody starts picking on the nerd, you want to be friends with the nerd, and that's
100%.
If I would have been hearing all that guff talked about him, I would have been the same way.
Yeah, I mean, and he played so well. Like you said, I mean, he putted his absolute dick off. Like, he is one of the best putters out there. But he has also got low-key one of the best, like, I wouldn't say best swings, but most pure swings, just because he's got that really buttery tempo, and he gets into that super long follow-through. It almost looks like it's Asian, like he's got that super pronounced. He holds every follow-through and just sticks it, which I respect, because even like Saturday, and credit to him, Saturday he had a really shitty start. I think he started 3 over through like 4 holes, and then fought all the way back, and I think shot under par. But even on one on Saturday, he blew it like, I want to say 70 yards right, like absurdly right. I think into like a food situation, and they don't put those close to the holes. Like, they put him in the most random spots, and I think it was under like a picnic bench where somebody was eating a fucking chicken sandwich. But he stuck the follow through on that one. He just, every single time. And I mean, it really isn't that bad, because I've given him many a lesson where I'm like, just if you can get all the way to your follow through and actually hold your follow through, there's a pretty good chance it's going to be a decent swing. Yeah. Like, if you can maintain balance, all of that, then you're pretty decent. But Alex Smalley, just every single time, he could absolutely hate it or love it, and it's just the same shit over and over.
Committed to the bit.
Yeah.
I got one more quick trivia question for you. See if you can guess the guy. Last data golf thing for you, and then we can move on. Who led the field this week in strokes gained tee to green?
Ooh, was it Rory?
No, he was not even.
Was it Xander?
No.
Patrick Reed.
No, he was up there, 5th, 6th.
Okay, who was it?
Ludwig Aubert.
Okay. Oh, well, that makes sense, because you told me he putted it like an absolute clown.
Yeah. Real quick, I did want to get back to you, unless you had something else golf-wise. You mentioned Smalley hitting it into the food situation. How was the food situation? It was free, right? Or included?
Yes. So we got the socialist food situation where it's included, it's prepaid for. And to no one's surprise, it was a fucking zoo. It was a goddamn calamity of errors. I mean, the food was not terrible. That's like it's like walking into a car dealership and they're like, "Oh, we'll throw this in for free. We'll throw that." It's shit ain't free.
Yeah,
Like,
you get a free tank of gas for buying an F-150. Like,
yeah,
sick.
exactly. Like, here's your $5,000 truck. Here's your free tank of gas. Like, get fucked. And I think from what I heard, ticket prices were going down significantly throughout the week because they were higher, and then they started to like drop off. Because we ended up getting a parking pass for like $55, which was about a third of the price of what they were on Monday or Tuesday. But the food wasn't bad overall. It was just a giant clusterfuck with it being free. And you just walk in there. I mean, waters, Gatorades, all that shit. And then they had a chicken sandwich, which I had, was pretty good. Had a little coleslaw on it, and I think that was it. And then they had burgers, dogs. Underrated, and because it was free, I tried it. Oatmeal raisin cookie.
Oh,
I
okay.
am generally a hater of raisins. I don't know why you need a dried up grape in your fucking cookies. But no, it's not Aunt Jemima. It's what old grandma. What are those?
Oh, grandma's cookies, I think, just the little
Grandma's cookies.
packages.
Yes, they had packages of grandma's cookies, and we each had an oatmeal raisin cookie, and that shit was gas.
Okay.
Um, but maybe when it's your only option, you're gonna think it's pretty good.
Beggars can't be choosers
Yeah,
100%.
beggars can be choosers. But no, it wasn't terrible. It was just like I would have rather paid less for the. Also, I didn't pay anything for my ticket, so
Yeah.
I was thinking about that. Like, oh, you're charging more for tickets just to get free food. I'm like, I got this ticket for free, so I guess this is just a bonus. Shout out to my boy Ryan. What a hookup. But yeah, that was just funny. I just had the thought of like, of course it's a clusterfuck because it's free and everybody is just putting bags of chips in their pocket and grabbing cookies for home and all that shit. Back to the golf though, because this is one guy that I do want to talk about. Cam Smith. We talked about him earlier in the week. He's been dog shit in major championships, and that's really where the only place people have seen him because he's been on live otherwise. But he had a phenomenal week, like for him. And funny enough, one of the last tee shots I saw him hit, I watched him kind of coming in on 17, 18, but on 15, because he is a really good iron player, really good wedge player. It's traditionally the driver he struggled with.
Yeah, I think at
And
one point today it showed, I think he was on his 15th or 16th hole and he'd hit 3 of 13 fairways. You're like, dude, you
Jesus
can't.
Christ.
And he's competing. You're like, oh my God, buddy.
And he's the other dude too that poses on every single follow through. And you're like, how do you get there? And the tee shot on 15 was like 60 yards left. Like it wasn't close. And I watched.
Is that the one that went into that like trampled down absolute mess of like fescue dirt? Like it was
Yes.
terrible. It was.
That's where we were sitting. That's where we were like sitting in between 15 and, or no, I'm sorry. That was between 15 and 16. We were one hole over, but yes, it was a trampled down like fescue mess. But it is like shocking to watch a tour player watch a tee ball just exit 20 degrees left of where he thinks it's going to, like literally leaving the face it's left. I'm like, my brother in Christ, how can you be that far off and be this good at golf? Because I watched Ben Griffin. Like Ben Griffin swings pretty hard at it. He hits a 5-yard bullet cut down the middle, and then Cam Smith just fucking duck hooks one off the planet, slams his driver into the tee box. But still, overall, very good to see him compete. I just threw up in my mouth a little bit. Maybe a little bit of the martini situation.
Well, and it's too bad that he couldn't make that putt on 18, which felt like it mattered, but it would have been top 4, which would have gotten him into all the majors again next year. I know he's still good for a little bit because he won the Open Championship, but like
I think he's good through next year.
Yeah, it would have just been like at least he's back, and maybe at a U.S. Open or an Open Championship again, he can go out and win.
I was going to say not a U.S. Open, no chance. He's gonna
okay. He's
gonna be hitting 3 from the fairway on like half of those holes. Like you can't drive it like an absolute clown
maybe
like that.
maybe another month with his new instructor and he'll dial it in. Let's get out of here soon. Let's give a little bit of kudos and flowers to the winner, Aaron Rai. And you put a quote in here from Zaire Golf, and it was from Xander Schauffele on Aaron Rai. And Xander said, "Rarely do you feel like people work way harder than you. I feel like I've played a pretty good amount of time. I've played a pretty good amount of time, and Aaron is always there. He's always in the gym, always on the range. The Scottish, I'm staying on site there. I thought it was fun for Austin and I to go putt. Aaron's finishing up a little putting session at 9 p.m. and going to the gym at 9:45. This was 3 years ago. I think that's what it's about. That's what it takes to be a major champion. You put the work in when nobody's looking. Super pumped for him and his team." And I think this is one of those things where, unfortunately, he couldn't win the Masters when we would have won thousands and thousands of dollars off him. But the idea of Aaron Rai winning kind of sucked all day. Somebody was going to win the tournament. Yes. Do I wish it was John Rahm or Cam Smith or Justin Thomas or anybody else I had a wager on? Yes, 100%. But I think overall, when you look at the scope of it, Aaron Rai is one of the dudes that just seems like, number one, he's kind of been there a lot and felt like he's had it, like he's only won one PGA Tour event, but he's been, it's like, I don't know how many times his first round leader bet has hit, but it feels like a lot. Like the guy goes out and plays really well. And, he did everything fairly exceptionally this week. And, the putt on 17 today was a little lucky, but at the same time, it was like, it felt like he won the tournament, because I would just like everybody, and shout out, you're the boys talking shit about Alex Smalley. I'm sure everybody was thinking the same thing about every guy that hadn't won a major, like the John Rahms that were up there, maybe JT, but he was already in. It's like you're sitting there watching it like, when is he going to just make a mistake that he can't overcome? And we saw it from Smalley early when he made the double. He hit like first he hit like 3 golf shots that were just embarrassingly bad and made like a 20-footer for par on 3. And you're like, okay, maybe it is his day. And then I think he doubled 5 and you're like, okay, he's gone. And then Matty Schmid got up there. He made a huge mistake, gone. And Aaron Rai just never made that mistake. And he made some bogeys early, but he banged an eagle putt on 9 and then goes out in the back in 32. And you're like, well, he deserves it. I think it was good to see, even though it wasn't a big name and somebody that everybody knows and maybe wanted to win, to go out and win the tournament and not feel like John Rahm was hanging out at 5-6 under, kind of dicking around, and Matty Schmid was at 8, and all of a sudden Schmid makes triple on 17, and Rahm is like, oh, I'm leading, I just par 18 and I win. That was I think the cool dichotomy of how the tournament finished up with Aaron Rai, is that he just went out there even on 18. I mean, he had a couple shot lead. Rahm had a chance to get one or two more making birdies, and Rai just fucking absolutely nuts one down the middle of the fairway and hits it to like 10, 15 feet and just leaves no doubt, like when we were in that text thread and our buddy Eric Tuttle texts us and goes, Rai could 3-putt on 17. He has 68 feet. And I was watching the putt as I read the text and I was like, or make it. And then he just bangs it in.
Yeah, it was like his one shining moment type of shit where you really want somebody to go out and win it. And that felt like his winning moment. And yeah, you got to give him all the credit in the world. He just grabbed the back 9 by the nuts and fucking made it his bitch. Like, that's just what he did.
On 13, when he hits it in the greenside bunker and you're like, oh, this is a hole that you should make birdie on, right? And Rahm didn't, and the guys that were chasing didn't. And then he gets up there and hits that greenside bunker shot, Matt Fitzpatrick style, to like 4 feet and makes birdie. You're like, well, he probably is going to win.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I mean, I don't necessarily love the comparisons that he's been getting with the 2 glove situation. The old running back from USC. I think everyone knows who I'm talking about. The PGA Tour actually tweeted that if the 2 gloves fit, like, my God, that was a little on the edge for the PGA Tour.
Admin fired.
Yeah. No, it's probably some intern out there just freeballing it, tweeting their ass off. But Aronimink, it was kind of the perfect winner for Aronimink, because it felt like we had really no recent history at this course. It was kind of a newcomer. It held its own by all accounts. Like it did very well for itself. And Aaron Rai was kind of, relatively speaking, a newcomer. It just felt like the course kind of fit the player. Like, you got to be really good approach shot wise. You got to be really good around the greens. Aaron Rai, he takes forever, but he's a fucking baller. I guess he's one of the nicest guys out there. And I actually appreciated that quote from Schauffele, because everyone just says, "Oh, he's the hardest worker there. He's the hardest worker there." And to hear somebody specifically like quantify how Aaron Rai is such a hard worker, it's like, holy shit, okay, this guy is a legit grinder. I was listening to PGA Tour radio, and this dude, it was hilarious. That those guys, I swear, they don't give a fuck, because like I think they realize that there's like 120 dudes listening to them, and a lot of them are just asleep. But he goes, this guy has iron covers, and he's like, that's something you get made fun of for. He says he says that shit on the beat, and now everyone's like, how many people are going to be showing up to your next tournament with 2 gloves on and iron covers? And it's like, that shit's never going to be cool. Let's just be real. It's never going to be cool. But the fact that this dude with iron covers and 2 gloves and a driver from 2018, shout out old clubs, man. Like, you got an old club in the bag. I've seen a lot of people on Twitter be like, you got a 6 or 7-year-old 3-wood in the bag, you're about to get boat raced by this guy.
Yeah.
So I can relate a little bit to that. I've got a 7-year-old 3-wood in my bag still.
Mine's new, so you know where I'm at.
Hey, well, you have like a 12-year-old hybrid in the bag, so that counts.
Yeah, that is.
Maybe
That's
even
15, 14, 15 years old. Yeah, when I bust that peanut out, you're fucked.
I'm about to pipe one 260 down the middle. But no, it was just a cool, like you said, you'd like to have a big name win, but it felt very fitting at the end of the day. Relatively newer course that really a lot of people were not aware of. And then a guy that a lot of people are not aware of goes out and wins at this course. It was fun. It was fun to watch. I mean, was it the ideal win, ideal finish? Probably not, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Well, that wraps it up for us on this Sunday night. Did you have something you had your eyes up?
Yes, I just forgot. Did you? Well, because you bet on Cam Young.
Yeah.
You saw the Cam Young tweet?
No.
I put it in the note. He was sick this week, and then he took medication, and it said that it made him dizzy the entire Saturday and Sunday, specifically when he was putting. And I think
good.
and that's just shit that you wish that you knew before you bet on someone.
Yeah, can we get somebody's CVS order before we fucking put American currency on them?
That is like a next level thought, is like, find the nearest CVS and see what the recent orders have been, because I got to read it real quick. Got word that Cam Young was under the weather this weekend, tried to take some medicine Saturday, and ended up making himself nauseous, dizzy, specifically while putting.
Sick.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, fucking awesome. Yeah, by the way, I think I'm done gambling on golf. I just the whiffs I've been having are fucking unbelievable. It's
monumental. I missed Chris Cotter up top 5 by 1 shot, so that's sick.
Missy said, she's like, just let me pick your golf picks, and I'm like,
that's the bury the banana out, Missy in.
Yeah, I've got a roster going here, and she's next up. Like, she's gonna be making picks, and I just am at a loss. So, yeah, I don't think anybody had Aaron Rai. Well, except for that one dude that tweeted us like, "Oh, my 155 to 1 ticket on Aaron Rai." It's like, did you bet on everyone in the field or what, dude?
Yeah, did you see him? Yeah, that guy shit on us for our gambling picks. Shout out Nick Scott in the comments, coming to Denver, Broncos, Seahawks, and Buffs on Saturday. Love to play some golf that week. October is the time to play some golf. We'll make that happen, Nick. We appreciate you all tuning in to this edition of Big Drive Energy, a little Sunday night. Mitch is going to go play golf tomorrow. I am going to probably go to bed at this point. These Sunday nighters, I'm going to go. My toddler, I can hear him. He's raising hell, so I'm going to probably try to put him to bed. We'll see how that goes. It's always an adventure, but we appreciate you guys all tuning in to Big Drive Energy. Make sure you're following us on all the socials. Big Drive Energy Golf on Instagram, Big Drive Energy on TikTok, and the X, the Everything app, where you can shit on us for our gambling picks. We'll be back on Wednesday with a preview of, I believe, the CJ Cup in Houston. Scotty Scheffler is going to be playing. There's some big names playing next week. We'll be back talking about the PGA Tour, talking about the world of golf, as we do every single Wednesday. We'll talk to you then. Peace.